Alright guys, as you know, I prefer doing Instagram influencer marketing from my phone just because it gives you a lot more unrestricted access. On the website, a lot of the features are not there. They're starting to now at the tail end of 2017, but for the longest time and even still till now, they don't have all the features on there. I think they reached a $1 billion valuation before they even had a website. So slowly but surely, the website's getting up to par, but let's use the app. So we're going to be finding influencers in a certain location. So if you're a nightclub, if you are a local clothing brand, maybe you're like a Toronto clothing brand, maybe you're a hair salon, like a high-end hair salon, maybe you're a CrossFit gym or some sort of specialized gym that's offered in Toronto, you're going to want to find influencers within Toronto. So it's very simple to do. The first thing we're going to do is search on Google and find some competitors. So if you're a nightclub, you want to go ahead and just find the top competitors, the top nightclubs in your city, and just go ahead and search. So in Toronto, there's a nightclub called Same Nightclub. I truly hate it, but we're going to use it as an example here. So we're just going to go through a bunch of people on the top 9 posts on your competitor. And we're going to find a few. So I see a few have a bunch of likes. For example, one had about 460. Another one had 580, and so there's a few with a bunch of likes, but really nothing over the top. And so we can take this girl with 580, we can tap her name and actually go through and just check out her photos. She looks like she might be from Toronto, but maybe not, because or either she's on vacation or something. It must be vacation. She's in the same place. If we scroll down in her photos, we can find, yeah, it looks like she's a local here because she's in Queen's University, which is local, or at least a couple hours away, and then Western University is local the other direction, two of the biggest party schools around here. So it looks like this girl could be an influencer, so we could actually reach out to her. There's no email because this is a micro influencer on the micro local level. You're going to find that a lot of these influencers, they don't actually have their email listed. And the influencers that don't have their email listed are going to be the cheapest influencers. So if you're a nightclub, you could probably get this girl to come to your nightclub for the price of, free drinks or free admission, or, even just a little bit of money, maybe $50 or something would get her there. Free admission and a couple drinks, and $50 would get her to come to your place, hang out for a few hours, and then take a few photos and post it on her Instagram promoting your nightclub. Maybe she'll take a bunch of photos, and then every Thursday night or every Friday afternoon before the club starts, she'll actually just post your pictures of her at the nightclub for every upcoming weekend over the next 4 weeks or something like that. And so if we search for someone with more of a following, the price may go up, but it looks like a lot of these people are going to be pretty affordable given that none of them are that famous. They don't have the email box, contact box in their bio, so they're not really that big. So this nightclub here really doesn't have that big of popular people. Now we can go ahead and search just Toronto overall and tap through some photos. We might have better luck at finding some bigger influencers. As of right now, it looks like the algorithm has changed within the past week, and you'll notice that these posts are really recent, within the past 3 hours. But what we're not seeing is the big posts that have been up for, say, 12 hours that are posted by a celebrity like Drake. So if you're an agency doing work for a nightclub, you may not know the competitors that you're working with. Of course, if you're the nightclub actually doing the influencer marketing, you know who your competitors are, so you can go ahead and just punch them in. But I'm going to go through and just get a couple more names here to try. Fiction, Nest, some of the ones that I've been to are popping up here. The Fifth Social Club we'll try, and Rebel, I think, are some big ones. So as you can see, go by the review count. It's pretty helpful. 550 reviews on Rebel, whereas some of these other ones are only 18 or 15 reviews. Union Nightclub, I think, is pretty big, 400. But some of these others here I haven't really heard of. So, okay, so let's pop in Rebel Nightclub. Here it is. So what I'm noticing about these top 9 posts right now is that the algorithm has changed so that it's not actually the most popular post within the past few days. It's more like, it's hard to say exactly how it weighs it. It's an algorithm, so of course it's a little complicated, but it seems like as if these posts are being prioritized for their time. Just there, we finally found one for 2,200 likes, but it seems like a post that has 200 likes within the past 2 hours is being prioritized over a post with, say, 2,000 likes over the past 2 days, or 3 days, or 4 days, which is odd because it used to be like really difficult to break on the top 9 for a popular nightclub in a city. And even we looked at Toronto earlier, and there was a lot of people who only had 200 likes that were ranking are being displayed for the top 9, which is very odd, something new that we're seeing in the space. So although this guy is a photographer, I mean, he's probably not the best example. I threw his name down just for now because there just wasn't much coming up. But eventually you'd go through and pick out the top people. I mean, you'd have to go through, probably at this rate, you're going to have to go through, probably 5 nightclubs to get 3, maybe. I think, well, we did 2. We did 2 nightclubs and only found one that was okay. I mean, we're ideally in Toronto. And if you're American, I mean, Toronto's about the size of Chicago. I mean, you really would expect some people, some girls to have 20,000 followers and 3,000 likes per post, and they are excuse me, they are in Toronto. It's just that we haven't really found them in our research so far. Okay, so let's just go ahead and assume that you went around and you built up a list. You have 5 to 10 influencers that you're going to reach out to. Okay, so we know a lot that are not going to respond. Okay, that's just the nature of influencers. So you might reach out to 10 and you might only get 5 responses, and then 3 or 4 actually close the deal, right? So you want to reach out to more than you actually need. So now if you're a digital agency, and here's Tactical, they're a client of mine, and we were talking about this other day. If they wanted to do outreach for influencers or to influencers, they're going to need to buff up their Instagram page, So we're looking, of course they just reserve their name. This is all, the only purpose of this Instagram is really they reserve their name. So they have no profile picture, 1 follower, no following, and no posts. So the first thing to do is just fill out this profile, get a bunch of good posts going, get some engagement going, profile picture, following, and followers. And so now I need to kind of give you a rundown of, how do you get to 1,000 followers really quickly. So if you're a brand, a retail brand especially, you want to make sure that you get real likes through probably ads. Ads would be the quickest way to pump up a bunch of likes. So or not likes, excuse me, followers. Now, if you're a brand and you have no intention of going after organic reach, you can actually purchase a handful of followers. Go out, I'm not going to give sources or anything, but you can go out and buy 1,000 followers, real or fake. It doesn't really matter because you're not going after organic reach. It's not the point of this account. This account that you made is just an outreach account for direct messages. And so now you're wondering, like, why, Josh? Why exactly do we need a bunch of followers and all this stuff? Well, when you're reaching out, especially this younger demographic, if they're under the age of 25, they are crazy enough to believe that followers equates to how profitable your company is. Yes. The agency I just showed you makes millions of dollars per year, and they have 1 follower. The average 22-year-old girl that you're outreaching to doesn't actually understand that. She thinks, a big agency that makes millions of dollars a year has a lot of Instagram followers. But in reality, their market is not on Instagram, so why would they have an Instagram account, etc. So influencers are not all going to respond, so you got to do what you can to actually build up an authoritative profile so that they are more inclined to respond. So you're just catering. You just got to do what you got to do. If you're going after 21-year-old guys and girls and they don't understand that an agency with 5 followers may actually be a big time agency, then you just got to play their game and just get a bunch of followers, get a bunch of posts, and look legit. And then once it's set up, you don't need to, it's just kind of set and forget. You can just use it for outreach from there on out. So get that set up. That's the next stage, because if they don't have an email address, you're going to have to go direct messages, and you're going to need a really good account for them to actually believe you and to get a response out of them. If you have access to your nightclub's Instagram account, then of course that'd be a really good tool to use. If you could get access to that and do the outreach through that, you'd get a pretty solid response from that, as opposed to if it was an agency doing the work for a nightclub and that agency was using their own account, not as good of a response rate. So the last thing to do is actually just craft your outreach message. So it's not that complicated. You just wing it. Do something like, "Hi there. We are such and such nightclub, and we're looking for ambassadors or brand ambassadors, which entails a few free drinks and free cover at our nightclub. Let me know if you're interested." And then don't send too many details in the outreach. Just a couple lines at most, just to get their attention. If you send too much, it might come across as spam. Like not marked as spam. It's going to go into their request folder anyways, but they get a notification that you have a request on the it'll show up as a message request on their lock screen. So either way, you're going to go into their spam folder, but that's fine. They're still going to read it in most cases. Keep the message short. It's all about doing numbers. Spread it out, though. Don't do too many messages in a single hour, else you're going to get temporary blocks. So do maybe 3 to 5 per hour or every 2 hours, or even if you could spread it out over, do 5 per day, that'd be perfect. Then you really don't risk getting into issues where you get blocked. So if you do 5 per day, keep the message short, call them brand ambassadors, not influencers, because they might not know what an influencer is. Now, if you want to avoid the issue of dealing with people who don't know what influencers are, you want to avoid the issue of being limited to how many direct messages you can do per hour, etc., you're going to need to use an influencer marketing platform. And by using that, you'll be able to actually get their email address and then reach out to them via email, which is going to yield a lot better response rate, higher response rate. You're going to be working with people who actually have experience being influencers. And, there's a few benefits, but that's not to say you can't do it free. I'm just contrasting both options. So if you have a couple of dollars to spend on a platform, head to shoutr.biz/panel, grab a free account, and then under where it says location, type in your city. So Toronto, click search. And as you'll see here, there are just a handful of Toronto-based Instagram accounts that we can easily start outreaching to. And right away we're seeing an account here with 2.1 million followers in Toronto, so it'd be something that we'd probably want to outreach to. As always, if you have any questions about influencer marketing on the local level or influencer marketing as a whole, just go ahead, leave a comment. I'd be happy to address your concerns.